You are tuned in to New FM, the beat of the Pacific. It is your new drive show with me, Sia, and a big maloi lele talofa lava kiorana bula vinaka. We've got Amanaki Prescott, co-producer of Pacifica Pride Festival 2021. Fefe hake?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited that you are here. Naki is here today because we are talking Pride Month. Obviously, the 28th of Feb, end of the month is coming up. Anyways, first of all, before we continue talking about Pride Month, for our listeners that are tuned in, please, Amanaki, can you introduce yourself a little bit to us?
Malo lele, everyone. My name is Amanaki Prescott-Faletau. You can call me Beyonce if you want. I identify as Tongan as well as Whakalei. Yeah, born and raised in Auckland. Hey, come through.
Come through, Beyonce. Now, should I call you Beyonce during this interview or should we stick to Naki?
You can call me whatever you want to call me.
But I'm excited because Naki, you're here. Now, first of all, before we break down exactly the Pacifica Pride Month festival that you guys had on earlier in Feb, Pride Month, what exactly does that mean?
Pride Month is really an opportunity for those who identify as rainbow or LGBTQI or MVP FAF, and it's kind of a month where we highlight, I guess, those who do identify and I guess give them a platform to either shine or like create festivals or just safe spaces, which are usually in spaces where they aren't highlighted, like usually in the big public spaces like Point Chev where they had the big gay out last Sunday. It's really just a month for us to kind of be free, which is, well, in my opinion, it's kind of sad because it's like we have to wait for like a month, but it's just like we should be doing that throughout the whole year. But
and I personally agree with that. Like, you should celebrate being you each and every day and not just a particular month. But more exciting is, obviously one of the important things about celebrating Pride Month is that we're also raising awareness within our communities and worldwide. You had a Pacifica Pride Festival 2021. It was the first ever one, which you were one of the co-producers as well. Fill us in a little bit about the Pacifica Pride Festival. What exactly did you guys have going on?
I think for me, coming up with this initiative was really about finding a space that was really safe for me, first and foremost. I think Pride Month is really, to me, a space that I really couldn't fit in because it was really, I don't want to be like mean, but it was really like Balangi driven, or it was like really a white space. And just the terms, the acronyms LGBTQI, which are acronyms I don't identify with. And being a Pacifica person first, I really wanted to find a space where I was able to highlight my sexuality, but also marry it with my culture and my religion. And I think that was important for me. And being in a space where I wasn't able to freely, I guess, be or talk about my culture and my religion, it was kind of a space that I didn't want to be in. So I was like, hey, for those who do identify as well as value their Pacific values as well as their religion, I wanted to create a space where we could kind of come together, but also create a safe space where our families could come and celebrate us as well, because I think it's important as Pacifica people that our families are involved. And I know it's really taboo, or it's a really hard being identifying as rainbow, but also having your family kind of be cool with it. I thought it was important that we created a space there we weren't too scared or too mad to bring our families to, because I can understand why sometimes pride or sometimes like identifying can be a bit vulgar in some people's eyes, and it was a bit rude. And so I definitely wanted to create a space where our Pacifica values were highlighted first, and that it was okay to invite like your youth, your parents, your grandparents, and that it wouldn't be a space that would be like too vulgar. So,
yeah.
And that's a space that I prefer to be in.
And that's awesome, because I did see a bit of it on social media as well. Can you let everyone know exactly, like, within the space when you had the Pacifica Pride Festival, in what forms or what ways were you guys showing, everything that Pride Pacifica Month Festival was about?
So it was a day event, and it might sound a bit weird because it was like I put up my own play because I'm a playwright as well. I put up a play called Ingi Piki Ponki, which is a theatre play, as well as I created a dance show called the Pa'ula Dance Show, and it was highlighting all our queens of Auckland and all the dance groups that all identify as Whawhawhingi or Whakaleiti or Akavaine. They came and they performed, as well as a panel discussion, because I think it was important to have an education element within the festival so that we're educating our audiences and those who are of the unknown. I think it was important that we had a panel discussion as well, and it was tiring because I was a part of all of four, and so, but it was good. And I think the beauty about it was that I was worried that it was just going to be our own community in the audience, but it was so good to have like my Christian friends, my religious friends come, like, and some of our elders come and celebrate us as queer people, but also as like Pacifica identifying as well.
And just celebrating you guys in general, which actually brings me to my next question, Amanaki, because you spoke there of, having that panel to educate the people that were there for the Pacifica Pride Festival. Why do you think it is important to have our own, for our community, our Pacifica community, on top of everything there that you've just mentioned, why is it important that we have a Pacifica Pride Festival to educate and to show the community out there about, your rainbow community?
I think it was important to have a panel discussion because I think Pacifica people tend to, as soon as they hear whakaleiti or whawhawhinga o akavaine, they, like, I hate to say it, but like, let's call the kettle black. Like, they automatically identify us as being on the roads and like just hairdressers and makeup artists. But I think it was important that we broke those stereotypes, and it was important that we talked about some of the iconic queens in Auckland who are producing festivals, who are writers, who are dancers, who are like, who judge like the New Zealand hip hop chants, thank you. But you know what I mean? Like that we're not just in a box. And that it was also important that we also reminded that our Pacifica people that we are like human.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like we're just as normal as the girls in the house. And just to remind them that, because to me, it's important like to acknowledge that, when you have a post in the whale or when you have roles in a household, like you have like your dads or your chiefs or your ministers, it's important to acknowledge that our whawhawhine and akavaine do play a role in the house as well. We might be in the kitchen, that's okay, fine, that's fine. I might be raising your kids, that's cool too. I will raise your kids and build the church at the same time. Like, let's not disacknowledge us. I'm here in the space. I'm also here part of your family, and I think it was important that we reminded our families of that, and that we're human, and that we love, and that we bleed the same as well.
And that you deserve to be loved. And that's such a good point, because growing up like here, going back and forth between New Zealand and Tonga, I recall like seeing, as you said, like our kakai, tēnā honga uko whakaleiti, but I recall seeing them in the garden, like in the kitchen, especially funeral stuff. I'm like, and now as an adult, I can't even do half the stuff that they do.
Exactly.
And I'm like, I give it up to you guys. But hang around, we're going to go to a song. When we come back, we're still going to continue our Tala North Amanaki Prescott Pacifica Pride Festival that wrapped up earlier this month. And of course, it is Pride Month. What is coming up as we near the end of Pride Month for Feb? And of course, we're speaking terms. His, her, she, him, all that sort of, the term questions that you may probably have on your mind. I know I've come across that myself a few times as well. But we're going to talk about that next with Naki. This is Kiani, New FM. New FM at 28 minutes away from reaching 4 o'clock. If you've just tuned us. If you've just tuned back into the show, we have got Amanaki Prescott with us here in the New Fairmont studio. We're talking about Pacifica. We're talking about Pride Month, and of course Pacifica Pride Festival, which took place earlier in this month. Amanaki, we're talking terms now. So when I say terms, or when we're saying terms in regards to our rainbow community, I'm going to be honest, I get confused sometimes, or I feel a little lost. So to be on the safe side, I ask the person. I'm like, excuse me, do you prefer this name or that name? Or do you, his, her, whatever it is. Can you break it down a little bit to us in the sense of terms, and how do we actually, is it okay to ask what term that one person prefers to use?
Totally. I mean, you're not the only one who's confused. I get confused as well, even though I'm part of the community, because I guess every year there's always a new letter. And so I think in the generation now, especially the younger ones, they're a lot more woke than my generation, because in my generation, the only terms I knew were like the Pacifica terms or queer or the bad terms.
Yeah.
But now there's LGBTQI+. Or Q, and then yesterday or the other day, I was messaging my boss because apparently there's an S now, and there's a 2, and there's a, so it's kind of confusing. But when in doubt, to be honest, just call them by their name. That's what I do, because now we have people who are non-identifying and who don't want to be called he or she, but we identify them as they or them, and so it's a bit. Yeah, so I'm learning as well, trust me. But there's also the Pacifica terms, like MVP, FAF, which is like mahu, wakasalewalewa, MVP, palopa, whawhawhine, whakaleiti, akavaine, and whakawhiwhine, which are some of the Pacifica terms that sit in the Pacifica realm.
Yeah.
And that's what, for me personally, what I identify with more, which are the Pacifica terms. I use trans for political reasons and just for people to understand in the space. But if people were to ask me what do I identify as, I say whakaleiti. But when in doubt, if you don't want to ask someone because it's a bit weird, just call them by their name.
Yeah. See, and also, it also gives you no right to call anyone names if you are unsure as well, which is why I was saying, like, it's like, man, I get confused, but so it is better to ask. Because I know some, but even the name thing, because, like, I know some use, like, the name they're given at birth, and then they have another name, and then I'm like, I feel like I'm confused.
Those, yes. Are you Sarah today or Beyonce today? No, I totally get it. And usually sometimes people will introduce themselves with their preferred name. And then usually you just kind of
go from there.
Yeah. Or ask too. You could ask.
Well, yeah. See, but that's the thing. Not everyone is always comfortable asking, unfortunately. However, moving on to the next question. Our rainbow community, our Pacifica rainbow community, how can we as in the Pacifica community, how can we show support to those that may identify themselves as MVP, FEF, or, just rainbow community in general?
Well, it's like, first and foremost, treat me like a human. And if you see someone who, I guess, is identifying, like, don't give them the googly eyes, because I get it all the time when I walk in the mall, do you know what I mean? And I think it's common sense. Like, if you see a sister, like, it's just like it's just like every other girl you see in the street. Like, be respectful, be kind, don't call out names. It's kind of common sense. We're human beings first and foremost, people. Get that straight. I am a child of God, hey. But yeah, I think it's just not throwing too much attention at us. Yes, I get it. We might, like, pop out in the audience. We might look a bit more extravagant than the next girl. Sometimes our calves are bigger than the dude next to us. But you don't need to, like, point that out. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's just like, some of us look prettier than your girlfriend. Let's not get that twisted.
Some of them are triggered right now.
Exactly. I think it's just respect. I think it's a common thing. Like, treat people the way you want to be treated. It's just not even just to our community, but just to anyone in general. Like, it's common sense. It's what we learned in primary.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
I feel ya. And that's so true. RESPECT, in the words of Aretha Franklin, showing respect, showing love to anyone and everyone, regardless who they love, whatever. And honestly, the world's going to be a stink-ass place if we all like the same damn thing and act the same way. But speaking of celebrating and supporting Pride Month, what is happening as we near the end? Anything else? Any other celebrations coming up near the end of the month?
There's the Pride March that's coming up this weekend. Feel free to come and join and celebrate with us. There'll be a specific Pacifica group of girls who will be marching as well.
Love it.
So come down, support, be respectful. So that's this weekend.
Where's it happening at what time?
It's happening at 4:00 in town, going down Bowen Street to Victoria Street, and we'll end with a party at Aotea Square.
Oh, patiki. So make sure if you want to get down there, Aotea Square, of course, you can find more information up on the Pride Month page online. Amanaki, thank you so much for your time coming in today and celebrating Pride Month with us. We're having our very own Pride Day here at PMN tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to dressing up all colourful, rainbow, all the P vibes coming through as we celebrate our Pacific rainbow community. But before I let you go, do you have any last words or shout outs that you'd like to make?
Shout out to Proud Centres who co-produced with me the first Pacifica Pride Festival. Also, as well as my job, Fine Pacifica Aotearoa, who allowed me to produce this. So it was Fine Pacifica Aotearoa co-produced with Proud Centres to create the first Pacifica Pride. Next year it'd be a whole weekend thing, so look out for that. And yeah, that's really it. Add me on Instagram. Hey.
Give your handle.
What is my handle? Because it keeps changing, like my gender.
Oh, I don't know.
It is Amanaki Prescott-Faletau on Instagram. I don't have any underscores, so just
I'm losing you.
Add me on that. But yeah, that's really it. Peace, world peace, and save Brittany.
Save Brittany. All right, thank you so much, Amanaki Prescott. That is us wrapping it up. Pacifica Pride Festival. Of course, find them up on social media or just follow Naki up on Instagram to keep up to date with what is happening. And remember, man, it's all about RESPECT. Moving on to one of our sisters right here in Aotearoa, Raze, do me one, New FM.